Hey everyone, my name is Evelyn. My character has been making Kigurumi masks for more than 18 years already, and today we shall share our knowledge about how do eyelashes in Kigurumi masks are created and what different techniques you can use to make this tiny detail. This won't be a long lecture because it's quite a simple matter compared to other stuff we've discussed here. But anyway, this is our current topic. And what can we say? Eyelashes and eyebrows, we shall look together at both of these elements in this theme. It's a pretty minor detail, and in some cases you can even abandon these elements depending on your design, depending on your character. But if you choose to add, then you have quite a few methods, quite a few techniques you can implement to have different eyelashes, different stuff. So we shall look through all of them. And most of these techniques are usually about the upper eyelashes, and usually eyebrows and lower eyelashes are simply paint on, and that's probably our first technique. But sometimes you can also combine this in every element. By the way, some of these techniques also works for mouths, but we shall look at mouths in different time because there are some extra ideas you can implement there. So we shall focus again not on eyes but around the eyes. By the way, a year ago. The whole year ago was the first lecture, and that lecture was about eye fixed techniques. So this one we started how eyes was implemented from the inside of the mask, and now we are concluding this arch with how eyes are what the frame around the eyes from the outside of the perspective. So, well, let's dive a bit deeper. The first is paint on eyelashes. It's the simplest technique, one of basically the first technique that actually was used to making under eyelashes in Kigurumi masks. You just make your mask shell and you simply paint on your makeup on top of your mask. Well, as you can see, I also have this type of eyelashes. Well, actually, I have two types of eyelashes around my eyes. But the first you look is this, and because you paint it on top of your mask as a part of the rest of the makeup, along the eyebrows, upper eyelash, lower eyelashes, you have to do this in sequence with the other techniques. So basically you create the mask shell, you smooth it, you make it look smooth, beautiful, nice, and make the base color and then apply the makeup. So it's like this. And you can use brush, sharpies, you can use some thin, very fine brushes, you can use larger brushes, you can use pencils, whatever you think fit to your style and design. For example, for eyebrows, I usually use a pencil, then I add some Sharpie, and the rest is added by the acrylic paints, basically the brush and the paint. Also, sometimes, especially for eyebrows, but for eyelashes as well, It can be useful to use masking tape or liquid latex to mask off some areas and uh, left exposed to just the area where you have your eyebrow and eyelash, and then paint this with directed strokes. For example, you leave this, for example, here on this mask. I used the masking tape to make eyebrows, and I masked the upper and the lower side, and then I painted over the eyebrow area, but I didn't airbrush it, or I didn't use some simple technique. I painted basically each of the individual small hairs, so I made the texture in this manner, like this. So all the strokes was oriented, and then I removed the masking tape. I didn't let the paint dry, because if I would let the paint dry, it would get chopped off a bit with the masking tape. So I left the paint. I removed the masking tape the moment I was satisfied with all the strokes and with the coverage of the deepness of the paint, the amount of the paint. So the edge would be clean and nice and all that stuff. So keep it in mind. And of course you can do this for the upper, for the lower, and of course if you want you can just simply mask the areas you do not want to paint and just airbrush what you want to paint, or use a spray paint as well if you cover all the mask except for eyebrows and eyelash area. And also this method allows you to use different shades, for example, different shades of black and brown and all that stuff, and have this more deep, more rich look. And here you can see we have even white strokes to highlight some elements. And this is my recent attempt, so you can see we used black and we used brown and different shades of brown to make the eyes more interesting. And also I heavily used pencils, just regular pencils, so regular colored pencils, to make this more straight look. So as you can see, this method allows you a lot of possibilities, but also we need to keep in mind that as this is the paint-on job, so you need to protect this kind of makeup with some clear coats to make it more resistant, because otherwise if you just paint it on top of your mask and call it a day, then your mask can be vulnerable for cleaning procedures, for some outdoor activities, because well, water won't damage your makeup, but if there are some chemicals or water is more reactive, for example, there are some, depending on your region where you live or on your other stuff, you may just accidentally wash off your makeup with even with a soft wash, with a dishwash solutions, something like that. So you want to protect this with a clear coat or with multi-clear coat, so it will hold for a longer time, and you won't need to repaint this stuff. The next is stickers. I don't have them. I didn't find them correct photo to this stuff because well, uh, then actually when I used the stickers, I did use them for some extra details and that things. But anyway, stickers are pretty viable for this reason, and they can look almost like they're paint on. But you can make them separately from the mask. You can design your mask, and along with designing your mask, you can design a texture and turn it into the stickers. And the big advantage of this stuff is, especially for eyebrows, you can just unstick the sticker and slap it back in a different position, so you can have some extra facial expressions out of this technique. But on the other, but there is a disadvantage, of course, because you cannot slap it back and stick it back and rip it off too much time because, well, the layer of the glue behind on the backside of the sticker simply gets dirty, gets washed out, and the thin, long elements of the stickers are easy to rip off the surface, so it's not as stable, and you simply need to have a bunch of spare stickers for your mask. So in case something went wrong, you simply have a replacement. The material you probably should use is vinyl. Then when the vinyl stickers are waterproof, and this is the sticker that I used in automotive stuff. So the same stuff you make stickers for gluing on your motorcycle helmet or on your car. So this type is pretty convenient. It is durable enough, and it is nice looking. But there is a catch. You won't be able to do this fine details. You will have to stick to the more cartoony style, more crisp edge style. So this is like this important stuff. And again, there are an interesting deviation about all this stuff. You also can use not sticky tape, sticky vinyl, sticky etc., but you can use a magnetic paper, something like the magnetic paper, or the magnetic fabric, and make a stickers out of that. You also can paint it. You can print some texture over it. So I mean some images over it. So you can simply use the magnetic stuff and implement it, but you will need to make pretty strong magnets inside of the surface of your face to keep that in place because, well, magnetic stickers will be less sticky to the surface than the stickers with adhesive. And you need to watch out for them more carefully because in this case, the hair, especially if you have like the regular hair, the regular wig, it will try to get under this stuff between the mask surface and the sticker or the magnetic sticker and try to rip it off simply when you just move around and do the stuff. So you need to be careful in this case. What next is the eyelashes, especially upper eyelashes, made out of a thin sheet of material. For example, you can use latex, you can use fox leather, you can use stuff like easy foam, the thin one, and this is, and here you can see this stuff. So as you can see, it somehow gets out of them. So you can see it. I can stick my finger under this. It is soft, and it also can manage some hair, so the hair won't get in front of your line of sight. And also, it is flat, and usually it is a unicolor stuff. You're basically usually limited to the sheet of paper or fixed leather or latex, etc. that you simply can find. And again, I made this for Eva. She has this type of eyelashes and that are simply glued on the rainbow false leather, so it gets a special effect. The biggest stuff about this thing is that you actually can have this special effect, and some of the edges of the eyelashes get split from your face, some extra three-dimensionality. And to fix them, it's usually super glue, an instant glue, like dichloromethane, dichloroethane, something like that, and just to bend the surface and this element. So the fact that you can make them sticking out of the piece is almost, again, a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it helps you to manage your haircut, manage your hair, to prevent them from blocking your own vision for the mask, but at the same time, if there are too much hair and hair are too heavy, this adds some extra stress on the bonding between the eyelash and the surface of the mask that can lead to some ripping those stuff off. So be careful, be prepared, and be prepared to reapply them after some time of usage. And again, like the stickers, so this stuff can be made alongside the rest of the mask, so you can make the mask, and in parallel you or someone else can make this kind of eyelashes, and then simply connect them together, glue them together when the mask is almost finished. What's next we shall install is the human type or fake eyelashes. So we have quite a few to show you. For example, this small stuff. This is the almost individual eyelashes, small short stuff. By the way, this is let's say it's 10mm long eyelashes, and this is considered to be one of the longer type of eyelashes, so in the human scale. This is another version, an individual eyelashes, and I also use this long eyelashes, like this is about 3 cm long eyelashes, and the last type is considered to be the drag queen eyelashes, because they are about twice as large as human type. So you can use this, and I firstly used this a long time ago when the idea of how the ball joint doll mask should look, the idea of the style. So when I was developing this style, I used these eyelashes. And you can see that it adds some three-dimensionality. And here you can see this with Yara. So this is how it all is made. What does this stuff have in store for you, this type of eyelashes? So what they can provide is, as expected, is a pretty good idea for doll style or Bourgeois doll style looks. And to achieve that look, you should look for the stage grade eyelashes or drag queen grade eyelashes because they are simply longer. And you will need to trim them, especially from the inside. So give them some shape. The biggest disadvantage of this is that there is a pretty limited amount of colors. So I've found again that black is overwhelmingly represented, and you also can have orange, green, white, something like that. But it's not like if you would if you would want to have some very special rainbow type with several shades. This may not be possible or can be extremely difficult. And the other thing is that you will need two pairs of these eyelashes for a Kigurumi mask because Kigurumi eyes are simply larger than the human eyes and they have larger eyelids and basically if you remember from the video about the wigs that you need two wigs instead of one, and for the eyelashes you will need two sets of eyelashes instead of one for this stuff. And to fix them in place you will need some epoxy glue or glue that is two-part compound like. So usually epoxy works pretty well because these fake eyelashes have the glue to be removable because it's going to be used with humans and it is on the wrong side of the eyelash base anyway, so you will need to be a bit more creative. Again, this technique is mostly useful for the top eyelashes. By the way, I found this as well. But I also use them for the lower side, but abandoned that idea because, well, paint on is usually enough for the lower side. So that's it. What is the next? The next is the sculpted eyelashes and eyelashes that are sculpted with the face itself. So this makes it three-dimensional. Again, it becomes very useful and very easy to implement with 3D printing, but it also was pretty easy back then when it was just a hand sculpting. And you have these three-dimensional structures so that you can paint, can shade, etc. But you are stuck with the face itself, with the sculpt of the face. And you will have to prepare the face and paint this along with the face itself. But it's again the true three-dimensional technique. The biggest problem with this is that if you will make them too pointy, too small, too spiky, then it would be too easy to break them and it would be pretty hard to repair. So, but the rest is basically a good idea. Well, so if you are pretty interested in then this sculpting stuff and this technique, you can definitely use them, and you can use them for eyebrows, for eyelashes, for upper, lower, so this stuff works pretty great. Well, again, if you are okay to go with the post-processing and painting it along with the rest of the mask, because when you would post-process the mask, especially if it is Guardian 3D print or sculpted with a regular clay, like that you will have to sand the mask after it would be, after the mask shell will be produced. And it would be extremely difficult to sand and smooth the surface of the mask around this area. So keep it in mind, but this is the most complication you will encounter, and it can worth it pretty much. Well, the other technique is the evolution of the previous technique, and this is basically the same, but you make the eyelashes a separate piece that is glued or attached or screwed on the mask after the mask is made. For example, Kisa have this type of eyelashes, three-dimensional sculpted, and as you can see, it's separate pieces. These pieces, by the way, are printed out of soft TPU when the mask is cast fiberglass. So these eyelashes are simply attached to the mask surface after they were made. And this technique makes it easier to post-process the mask and the eyelashes. You do not need to be so careful around them because you simply do not have the eyelashes, eyebrows, and all the stuff on the mask surface. When you smooth it after it's got painted or cast, and at the same time you have more access to the surface of the eyelashes, and you can paint them, you can smooth them, you can post-process them however you wish. For example, you can easily paint them with airbrush and without worrying that you have to mask off the rest of the mask. For example, this is Sigma's stuff. Or you can smooth it with chemicals again without worrying for the other surface of the mask. Because for my technique of TPU post-processing and TPU painting, it implies using a pretty aggressive chemical, so that can destroy the surface of the mask. So it's simply a separate technological process, and then the element that is already made, that is complete, can be just attached to the surface of the mask, and you even do not need to permanently attach those stuff. You can simply make some small bolts or make some special holes or other stuff. For example, eyelashes on Tisa relies on two pins in the back of the eyelashes that are just into the mask in an angle, so it's not like direct, it's one side this way and one side this way, and so they simply hook to the mask surface from the inside. and I can simply remove these eyelashes and put another eyelashes. And this is the biggest advantage of this technique, because you can have separate set of eyelashes, you can have separate set of eyebrows, as long as the eyebrows simply have the same point of attachment. You can make them pretty different. Just make sure that all of them share the same spot or a couple of spots, so you can place the hooks or balls or something like that in that spot specifically. And you'll be able to swap the eyelashes for the different color or the different shape, and even play with the thickness of eyelashes and eyebrows to make, for example, more to imitate the eyes to be a bit more closed, or move them a bit with different positions. It is not the animatronics, it's just you have to change the look manually, but you won't need to change the whole faceplate, you will need to change just some elements and get the new look, get the new face expression. This is, well, for me, it's my new favorite, as you can see. And the next is the mechanical. So this is the usual experiments with the mechanical eyelashes. This is the model from our conversation with you about how we can make the eyelash, the mechanical eyelash out of soft material, so it can bend in a predictable way, such that the mechanics inside the mask will bend it in a very predictable way, because View does a lot of experiments for more than a decade already about different moving eyelashes, and the approach is mostly like you have several segments along the edge, and these segments get the rigid segments that get moved past one another, and when those segments bend differently, we have the new shape of the eyelash, and also it gets the curve up when the eye is open, and the curve down when the eye is closed or semi-closed. We also have another maker currently. In all the lectures that maker is mounted, those are three, as far as I remember. Also have a look who also does this animatronic stuff, and many units also try to do some animatronic stuff with folks eyelashes, like that the simple eye open and close in the manner of the regular Belgian dolls are made with this when they have this eye open and close stuff. And this variant is easier. And again, as this is mechanical, it can be driven with servos, or it can be purely mechanically driven. For example, with the chin of the performer, or with some strings attached that you would push or pull, something like that. So it can be both ways. But the biggest disadvantage, apart the fact that you will need to design it, and you will need to be pretty engineering and ingenious about this stuff. The other thing is that these mechanisms are pretty thin. They can be wide, but they are thin. It's basically some sheets of plastic moving one along each other, so it's pretty delicate. That's the most stuff. But again, you're not limited to the upper eyelash. You can also have the lower eyelash made with this implant, and you can also make the eyebrows also movable. For example, you have separate eyebrows models with a single pin, for example, somewhere like that spot or that spot, and you can move this up and down around that spot. Again, it won't be very reliable, it would be pretty delicate, it would be easy to get hair stuck under the eyebrow and introduce some extra stress and jam it, but you still will be able to have these different eyebrows expressions like this, like this. Just make sure that you chose the spots around which you can move this stuff. So that's it. And so far we have our options, our ideas, and this is the comparison. Again, it's pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward, it's not much information here, but as you can see, you still have a pretty healthy amount of different options. So fine tone eyelashes, so ease of make is how easy it is to you as a maker to do this. Do you need to do this in a sequence with other element of masks, or you can do this in parallel and even outsource it to someone else? Again, separate sculpting would need and sculptors, you'll need to 3D model them or sculpt them. And separate sculpting is almost entirely depending on 3D printing technologies and 3D technologies. Well, not 3D printing as well, you can use CNC machining and milling and all that stuff, but digital and separate sculpted eyes, digital manufacturing is almost unavoidable, while if you would sculpt them in place, then you can sculpt them by hand without relying on any mechanical stuff. So keep it in mind that you do not need some special machinery here, but you will need some special machinery here and especially here. The production stage, so final assembly means that you will need this type of stuff just when the mask is almost finished. And the other is where you will have to either implement that to the mask and for sculpted with the mask. You will have them to drop them along all the stages of mask making. And here then when you just paint the surface and make the makeup. And this is the initial design that you need to do this on the initial design stage, because you need to have all that stuff to be clickable together, to find a way to attach all the stuff together so it won't get bent, etc. And then this on the final assembly, and this is also final assembly because you assemble all that elements back together. So durability is how easy it is to, well, how hard it is to fail when you use the mask. So when you go to the photo set or go to the convention or do some crazy stuff like fly in other tube or dive into a local river, something like that. So if we stand all that stuff, or will it be a bit too delicate to this treatment and like that. The replaceability is, again, if it gets broke, how easy it would be for you to make the replacement. So, sorry for my hair. you know the bit. So again, the possibility is how easy it would be for you to repair this stuff. And so basically the two options, you either can replace it with just come home and remove the broken part and put a new one, or you will have to do a pretty tedious repairing process with some milling, drilling, repainting, all that stuff. Which option do you have? And the possible features is well, what you can implement in this particular technique to have some extra out of the mask look and mask features like basically what extra gimmicks like pretty intricate painting when you paint all your eyelashes. Again, you do not have to do this, but you can. This is the options. Now stickers have option of placing them differently. Glued flat eyelashes are soft, and you can use some special reflective textures. The fake human type for drag eyelashes are simply realistic, and sculpted have 3D sculpted, the sculpted and sculpted in place have 3D details, and the sculpted separately are easier to have the rich gradients and all the stuff. And mechanical is basically it is dynamic, it's animatronics, it's possible to your mask is simply dynamic stuff compared to other static variants. So that's it. That is what I have to say about eyelash, what I have to say about different options. And most of them are useful primarily for the makers. So if you are just a user, you simply can consider about the durability and replaceability of that stuff, and the rest is solely upon the maker if you are making your own mask. So again, thank you for watching. This was a great year, and I almost exhaust all the terms about all the topics about mask making. Well, not all. So there will be more lectures about options, and then there will be more practical stuff. And so thank you again, and see you with them on the next, well,